We've talked about Toy Story 2 on this channel. We've talked about Toy Story 3. I'm not really that interested in checking out Toy Story 4 or Lightyear, so now it's time we go all the way back to where it all started. One of the most influential and important animated movies of all time, Toy Story. The first one. Released in 1995 and directed by, love him or hate him, John Lasseter, Toy Story was not only Pixar's first feature-length movie, but also the very first fully computer-animated film ever. Much like Jurassic Park a few years prior, it revolutionized the film industry, showcasing what we're now capable of with CGI. And in the process, it kicked off Pixar's run of classic films, all while entertaining kids and grown-ups alike. It was beloved then, and it's still beloved now. Okay, I'm just sort of stating the obvious. You know this already, I know this already, let's just move on to the film itself. First off, I think it goes without saying that Toy Story is a great story. The way it handles jealousy and friendship is pretty dang good. There aren't as many deep themes about a toy's connection to their owner as there are in later movies, but I think that's fine, as it gives focus on the competition between toys for their owner's attention. And this brings us to the toys themselves. Woody and Buzz. How can I not love these two? The way they argue and interact is so enjoyable. Tom Hanks and Tim Allen are irreplaceable for these characters.
Oh, no. Buzz, look, an alien! Where?
Got him! Got him!
And as for their development, oh boy. Woody goes from being a sometimes selfish jerk who only viewed Buzz as a means of getting back home, to a selfless guy who genuinely cares about him. Sometimes he can get a bit too aggressive, but let's just be thankful he didn't end up like how he was in the Black Friday cut.
You don't think I was right? Who said your job was to think, Spring Wiener?
Well, I just thought that
use
you...
this vast reserve of brain power to consider this for a moment. If it wasn't for me, Andy wouldn't pay any attention to you at all. In fact, my sketchy friend, you would have been hauled away to Goodwill a long time ago, so shut your mouth and get them off the bed.
Buzz is great too. Like Sir Lancelot in Night at the Museum 3, he hadn't yet realized who, or rather what, he actually is, which lends itself to some great comedy and drama, and the emotional moments with these two still hit. Buzz explaining how he finally understands now that he's just a toy, while Woody tries lifting his spirits up and apologizing for what he's done, is wonderful. And on my latest rewatch, I actually got a little choked up when Buzz crashed to the ground after trying to fly. As for the others, Slink, Rexy, Potato Head, Ratzenberger, etc., they're all untouchable. Everyone has so much personality, and no matter how hard you try, you could never forget about them. It honestly breaks my heart whenever I'm reminded just how many of these colorful characters are gone now. Over the years, I've become so attached to each and every one of them, and it can be hard to say goodbye. And of course, Sid's monstrosity toys. They range from absolutely unnerving to kinda adorable. They're essentially the rogue robots of the movie, and as a child, I didn't even know that they were hybrid abominations, but instead just thought of them as a group of really weird toys. Now, I can safely say that the humor is on par with the second film, if not better.
You will not be spared. You will not be saved.
I love all the slapstick and visual gags, and the subtle adult humor we mostly didn't get as kids.
What do you say I get someone else to
Watch The Prisoner tonight.
Hell yeah.
The witty dialogue, timing, and awesome voice performances just make the movie funnier and funnier, especially as you get older. I don't think I can go any longer without commenting on the animation. I actually think it holds up better in some places than many people give it credit for. For a film that's like a quarter of a century old, the lighting and especially details are astounding. And Toy Story was the first of its kind, so it's only expected for technology to improve since then. Any of its problems really come from the time it was made, not negligence or being cheap. Sure, the humans might look a little weird, and several of the textures haven't aged the best, but even then, the fact that the film is centered around toys really helps the plasticky look. Although, just like IHE said in his Disney live-action remakes video from 4 years ago, Jesus, I wouldn't actually mind seeing a remastered version of this movie with updated graphics. I'm not claiming it's necessary, as the film is more than watchable today, but as long as the original is still available and nothing is changed to be more PC, then I'd say go for it. I'll take it over Toy Story 5. Now, what else? The score, You've Got a Friend in Me, and the rest of the songs all still hit right at home for me. Randy Newman is an absolute godsend. Also, I just love the whole idea of the toys moving around when you're not looking at them. It takes the stiff, lifeless items scattered across your bedroom floor and breathes life into them, stirring our imaginations. I think we've all had that time where we hoped to see our toys come to life. I know I certainly did. I'll admit some of the rules, or lack thereof, on what gets to come to life and what probably doesn't are a bit confusing the more you think about it, but who cares really? It's super cool seeing how so many of the typical Pixar Easter eggs formed early on. Something else I've always noticed is how Andy Ciancey doesn't appear in any future movies. RIP. Also, it might just be my brain playing with me, but that distinctive gap behind the snake's head has always looked like a weird mouth to me in some shots, and now I can't unsee it. We've got another case of false mouth syndrome, guys. Oh, and
maybe Andy'll get another dinosaur, like a leaf eater. That way I could play the dominant predator.
well, would you look at that, Rexy? You just triggered Jack Horner. I don't know what else I can say about this film that hasn't been said 50 bazillion times already. Every scene has become a meme or an example of good storytelling. So many of its characters are iconic, its visuals led the way to so many films after it, etc. So I think it's time I'd go into the more personal stuff. Toy Story was obviously a movie I loved rewatching as a kid. Just like Cars 1 and WALL-E, I would constantly pause and replay scenes, analyzing every little moment. I don't know, I guess I have a Pixar frame-by-frame thing. And oftentimes, I'd recreate scenes with my own toys to the best of my ability. I'm telling you, I reenacted the staff meeting way too many times to count. But along with that, the film made me care even more about my own toys, and got me into collecting every character from the film. Man, I still remember the days when I didn't have a Buzz or a Woody, or how before I received an actual See-and-Say, I'd use this drum as a placeholder during playtime, because it's circular, I guess? Or how before I received an actual RC, I would use this remote-controlled Lightning McQueen at times. You get the picture. As time went on, I got very attached to all my Toy Story-themed toys. I had brought them with me on my family's vacation to Australia in 2011, I'd bring them with me on several Christmas trips out west, and so on. But that's not all. There were times as a child where I'd refer to myself as other names besides my own, one of which was in fact Andy, and if you want confirmation, look at this old Pillsbury Doughboy. Yeah, I was a weirdo. All of this and more was thanks to the impact this film and its subsequent follow-ups had left on me. And just as the case with Monsters, Inc., there were tons of random lines from the characters that I misunderstood as a kid.
You want a piece of me? Sworn enemy of the Galactic Alliance.
And this is how we...
Okay, it's Benji.
I hope he's okay.
How did I get stuck with you as a moving buddy? Everyone else was pigs.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm just very glad that this film that I'm so fond of still holds up today. It always put ideas and quality first, and being a product second. Again, of course, I really recommend CinemaWins' video if you want to discover some cool details, and in case you want to know more about the film's production, Animat's History of Pixar Animation Look Back provides some fascinating info about it. And if you somehow haven't yet, you should definitely check out the Toy Story full live-action remake by JP and Beyond. It's definitely well worth a watch. So, there are my thoughts on Toy Story. Still one of my favorites from Pixar, and it never ceases to warm my heart. It works wonders as a standalone movie, but it also laid the groundwork for one of the greatest series in animation. It's not as adventurous as Part 2, or as dark as Part 3, but it's definitely a worthy classic, and I will forever love it, to infinity and beyond. And now, I've completed the Toy Story series, or at least what I've seen of it. But don't feel too sad about it being over, because I plan on covering yet another trilogy of movies from my childhood that Disney currently owns but were made by a different company. Oddly specific, I know, but you'll see what I mean. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.